Number 307 from the indicator range is 711 Ocean Drive from the Columbia Noir 2 box set, and this one stars Edmund O'Brien as Mal Granger. Released in 1950, this is all about a telephone technician who by happenstance manages to get an in with a crime syndicate because they're running a bookie kind of an illegal bookies, and he's trying to take them up, get them all sorted out with telephone lines so that they can quickly get the information to where it needs to go as quickly as possible. And this is basically a rise and fall of a criminal mastermind. He starts off by having a good job, and one of the things that really kind of put me off about this movie was the character of Mal. I really didn't like him. He's someone that puts you in the back foot almost immediately. You know, he gets this opportunity with a gangster, takes it, there's no qualms in that, there's good money in it, and then he instantly starts to change already. His girlfriend, he tells just to beat it, he gives up his job, he's not interested in anybody other than money. And as he starts to move up, he takes chances. He waits for the right moment before he even makes his move. Like the gangster boss that he's with, he blackmails him into getting 20% of his business simply because he's essential. And as he moves up through the ranks, he starts to use people, discard them as items. He starts to grow more and more powerful and becomes this rather large figure who is cut off from society. He's not interested in people. He doesn't care about anybody or their personal situation. He's not willing to help anybody. It's only what they can do for him, and if they can't do anything for him, they are discarded like a piece of trash. And that was the crux of the movie for me. Now, I'm not saying the movie's bad or anything like that. I just find it troublesome to try and watch a movie where the character is so reprehensible and so just unlikable that it's hard to really attune to it. You want him to get his comeuppance. You don't like him. He becomes a telephone technician who seems interested in his job and having a good laugh, to someone who is manipulative, who uses people, who doesn't care about anyone else and is only after money. It becomes a horrible kind of character. And it has some nice moments within the movie as well, because it's dealt with mobs and syndicates and people who are using this illegal facility to line their own pockets. It's a little bit of a morality play as well, because it pushes home the idea of anybody gambling only a couple of bucks is facilitating these horrible crimes. But the crime syndicate aspect of it was something that I really kind of liked. I liked to see this almost board members of criminals who would make decisions on what to do next. Whereas we have Mal, who gets kind of drawn into this because he gets a little bit too big, but still tries to regain some of the power, and that's when he becomes a little bit more murderous and vengeful later on, as he starts to take it out on people that he feels and possibly are wronging him. But you need to remember, he got in bed with these people, so it's kind of getting what he wants. But his idea of just killing people straight away, it just feels like that's evolution of the character, but ultimately a character that I just did not like. The movie looks great. It's got some wonderful locations, and the rise and fall of a criminal can be something that's really interesting to watch if they have a kind of softer side, if they have a little bit of charisma to ease you around, where you kind of want them to win. Whereas in this one, I just didn't. I just felt Mal was such a horrible character that I was waiting on him to get his comeuppance. 711 Ocean Drive was a beautiful looking movie. The transfer is gorgeous. The film's pretty interesting, but ultimately the lack of characters that I could attune to and acclimatise with just let the movie down for me. Still a good, interesting watch, but probably one I wouldn't go back to again. Still way better than 5 Against the House. Probably the worst movie in these sets so far, but I'd love to know your thoughts on the movie. In this one, there is a short that is Diary of a Sergeant, 24 minutes, and this is it's a kind of documentary of a soldier who's lost his hands And this was really actually quite interesting. You kind of get him giving voiceovers talking about him trying to get used to using his new prosthetic limbs, what the world thinks of him as he eases back into society. It was really interesting. It was probably something that was gave an idea into people who came back from the war kind of damaged and how they dealt with it. I loved the main guy and how he kind of roused himself into being more proactive in his healing, and it was generally just a really interesting piece of filmmaking. Three Sappy People was the Three Stooges short in this one, and it's another one of those that's just completely forgettable. It never really had too much to elevate it at all, and it was perfunctory almost. But there we have it. That's this disc. I'd love to know your thoughts on 711 Ocean Drive. Let me know in the comment box below, and I'll see you next time on Man v Film.